This is a film study that focuses on Brian Branch, the stress and conflict that he was under in the Lions' 31-24 loss to the Packers on Thanksgiving Day. Of course, he's involved in the penultimate play, the 4th and 3 completion to Dontavion Wicks that secures possession and allows the Packers to go into victory formation and take a knee. I do, however, think that Brian Branch played at an extremely high level in this game, and I intend to show you the film to kind of back that up. First possession, it's a downhill run concept. He's going to be on a blitz that I think is by design. So basically, the 3 technique, Tyleik Williams is going to stay in the B gap, and then Alex Anzalone on the motion is going to essentially front up the center, clearing out the A gap for Brian Branch to blitz through. He's a downhill player. When he is playing downhill in the box, he's almost like another linebacker. Actually, obviously misses the tackle here. I'll give you the all-22 angle so you can see. It's, of course, Jack Campbell that cleans it up. The scheme or the design here with the B-gap player, Tyleik Williams, Anzalone, fronting up the center, is to open that A-gap, very similar to some stuff that Seattle Seahawks do with their safeties as well. And then Campbell's going to fold over the top and finish this thing off. All-22 angle of the same play, and I'm showing you this one because you can see how much ground he covers on the blitz. Downhill run concept from Josh Jacobs in the backfield, and how much ground he's able to cover quickly, recognizing the stunt or the blitz that the Lions have called, probably a response to a typical 12 personnel grouping by the Packers. Talking about these 2 tight ends here. Can't finish off the tackle. Jacob spins out of it. Tyleik Williams and then Jack Campbell involved in bringing him down for a short gain. Branch and Jacobs would meet again later on, I believe in the third quarter, in the alley, which is something that Brian Branch runs spectacularly. He's got great angles and great discipline, if you ask me, with the way that he approaches the ball carrier on outside runs. So we've moved forward here to the second possession for Green Bay. Somewhat interesting reverse here in that the running back is going to go to the same side that the receiver does on the reverse path. And Branch is the safety to the field, to the far side or the top side of our screen, and he's going to track it brilliantly. Now, one thing that the Packers are trying to do is they're trying to subtract Jack Campbell from the run fit. By having that right guard pull, that's going to get Campbell to step in the opposite direction away from the point of attack. In addition, Christian Watson is trying to pin down or crack down on Derek Barnes, the frontside inside linebacker. And Branch is able to fold over the top, basically act as a replacement for the inside linebacker if he gets closed off by the crack or the pin down block. Brilliant angle. I don't know that he necessarily is given credit for this tackle, but nonetheless, Detroit's able to get a 3-and-out in this situation and force a punt. Same play from the end zone angle. This guard, like I said, is going to pull in this direction, and that's going to draw the attention of Jack Campbell, his primary read being the guard. Branch is kind of off screen for you guys down here in the bottom left. You can see the orientation that Watson takes to try to cut off Derek Barnes, pin him to the inside, and allow the receiver to flow behind the running back's path to the outside. Nice job, if you ask me, by DJ Reed, getting to the outside shoulder, essentially giving Branch the alley to run through. If you're watching, obviously you're a Lions fan and you know he takes great angles, exceptional pursuit. He's got all the speed and physical tools to play as a nickel DB, a too-high safety, and tackle when moving downhill like you just saw. We've moved forward here onto the third possession, and there's going to be 2 targets here, both involving Brian Branch. So this is a 3rd and 2. First of all, ball in the middle of the field. Amik Robertson appears to be unsure of where to go, probably because so many DBs are actually now healthy, at least in this game at the time that this one occurred last week. Terrion Arnold and DJ Reed being first and foremost among them. So Robertson's kind of hanging out in the middle of the field, really not sure what to do. But in any case, Branch is man on Watson, and you see this, the bully nature that he takes with some of these receivers as the ball gets downfield. Now, Wicks is going to beat him on the very next play on a 4th and 2 where Branch pretty much tries to do something similar. Use his body, use his physicality to knock the receiver off balance when he's not. I would say that Branch, to use a combat sports comparison, he's got heavy hands, meaning he doesn't have to really put his hands on you in an obvious way to have an impact on your balance and your ability to stay in position to catch the football. This is the same play from the end zone angle. You don't necessarily get a great view of the coverage from Branch until the ball arrives at the catch point for them. Robertson definitely trying to figure out what to do, being as there's so many DBs healthy and he's on the field. I think it's probably because Anzalone's matched up on the tight end, and then so many guys are on the field, what I would consider to be called dime for the Detroit Lions. Love is looking to his left briefly here. You can see right off the snap, he looks to the right, where Branch and Watson are, and then comes back to the left briefly. I think that is a deke. I think that's just to hold the safety for a moment and not allow the safety to get over there. On the other side, he's got another slot fade that's not really open either, because that's what I would call this route, a slot fade to Watson that Branch defends beautifully. But I think Love is just looking him off. Really, there's no opportunity for the free safety to get there anyway. He's a bruising safety. Love kept going after him, though, and it paid off on the very next snap and obviously at the end of the game. So this is the very next play, 4th and 2 after that incompletion to Watson. They're going to motion Dontavion Wicks across the field. Here's the line to gain, which is interesting about this play concept. So there's the line to gain, and Wicks' route is going to go way past that line. In fact, it's going to go all the way to the end zone. Man, I think Branch is in good coverage position, first of all. And one thing to mention here, I do have a timeline available on my player that I can use. I've basically been trying to incorporate time to throw on certain plays, certain important plays, and this one is first and foremost among them. I got 2.96 seconds right now, and Love hasn't even let go of the football. So the idea here is that the Lions are not getting pressure on Love at all. Branch hasn't even made contact with Wicks up here, and Love has really decided where to go with the football, and it works out. I mean, I think Branch is in good coverage relationship. If he continues to play the ball, I don't think Wicks goes up and gets this thing. I remember that there was someone put on social media and the Lions Discord an explanation for Branch. You're more than welcome to post it in the comment section. Something about, I've just got to play that better. I was turning and looking for the ball, I guess, but it looked like he just stopped playing, which is very uncharacteristic for Brian Branch. Same play from the end zone angle, and you got Davenport on the right-hand side, our left, and then Hutchinson off the left-hand side for the Lions defense, our right. No pressure at all. This is my timestamps that I have for time to throw when the ball was snapped, 14:74 up to 17:90. So 3.16 seconds, obviously not good enough at all from a pass rush standpoint, and putting the Lions coverage guys at risk. Free safety Harper tries to get over there. He's unable to close that gap. Branch has stopped playing football for whatever reason. Very unusual dynamic or situation for him. Again, I don't know exactly the explanation that he offered. I still have questions about this play. How much control is needed before they can say, okay, the first foot didn't count because you didn't have control for the entirety of the catch duration? I don't know that it should be incomplete. I just want consistency. I've seen situations, obviously earlier this year with Travis Kelce, where less control was exhibited and it was still indicated as a catch. Moving to the fourth possession, and the Packers are in the red zone again. Really gave Detroit's defense problems, obviously, with stopping the pass game, especially on 3rd and 4th down. I think they were 50% on third downs, and then 100% on 4th downs. This is a jet sweep to Watson to the field. Branch is the safety. Watch the angle he takes, man. First of all, the receiver up here is going to hook Davenport. Davenport really, looked kind of slow here, trying to get back to game speed, in my opinion. He really didn't have much impact in it, first of all. Second of all, up at the top, the outside receiver, Dobbs, is just trying to take Amik Robertson up the field. I don't think that either Wicks, Dobbs, or Watson necessarily is someone I would consider to be a really good run blocker, and if there's another opportunity for the Lions to face the Packers, something to think about as far as personnel groups and personnel standpoints. Anyway, Watson's a dangerous player out in space, man. It's a jet sweep. Branch wipes him out. This is no contest, meaning it's a first-round knockout, to use another combat sports analogy, because of how clean Branch is with his technique in making the tackle and stuttering his feet to be able to handle a two-way go. Watson was kind of already falling down. 2 plays later is the unusual situation where you have a false start that clearly occurs before LaFleur calls the timeout. It may even be a full second later before he signals timeout. Nonetheless, the refs awarded him a timeout. It seems like it's good to be a Packers coach and or fan sometimes. But in any case, it's a 4th and goal. Branch is off the field. So I'm not a huge fan of this. It's a 6-1 look for the Lions. I shouldn't say I'm not a big fan of that look. I'm not a big fan of Branch being off the field. Anzalone, Jack Campbell, starters, key guys in terms of getting people in the right spot are all on the field. And I get it. You have a surplus of quality defensive tackles. So I think this is Shepard and Dan Campbell saying, you're not going to run the football on us to get in the end zone on this 4th and goal. This is too easy. It's kind of like okie doke shit. Dobbs wins on the no shield route, and it puts him up 17-7. It's just too easy for me. Now, the Lions do handle this better a little bit later on, and I'll show it to you on actually the last play, the one that finishes the game off for Wicks against Branch. But this is way too easy, making it look like they're going to shield the outside corner. So Watson initially diving to Amik's outside shoulder, and then he'll bring his route back in underneath. And since DJ Reed is underneath of Watson's route, basically to the inside, he's out-leveraged. And Dobbs is just going to win to the outside. This is very cheap stuff, but you get away with it when you know that it's man. Credit the Packers and credit Love, because you really can't play zone from a 6-1 look. So that mentality of, we're going to make you throw the ball, I get it. I can't say that I would have a different mentality at times. But multiple guys got beat in these situations, these pick, rub, shield concepts. Enough such that I think maybe a different track or different tact needs to be taken at times. We've moved forward to the 7th possession into the 3rd quarter. The 5th possession for Green Bay was a kneel down at the end of the 2nd quarter after Detroit had pulled to 17-14 on the 22-yard screen pass on 3rd down to Jamison Williams. And then the 6th possession occurred after Detroit's failed 4th down near midfield. So many carries in a row to Jahmyr Gibbs. I'll kind of talk about, or maybe produce a video on that on Tuesday. Jahmyr Gibbs, the most dangerous guy on this team, clearly, from an offensive standpoint. Green Bay's done a great job of defending him, and I think that was a missed opportunity to maybe use Gibbs as a decoy, convert that 4th down, convert even the 3rd down at the beginning of the 3rd quarter, and prevent Green Bay from opening up a 10-point lead. This is actually after the Lions have closed. I believe it's 24-21 here. Branch is spot shadowed at the top side of the screen. It's a jumbo personnel group with jumbo 12 personnel group. Basically, you've got an added offensive lineman, number 70, who's eligible, and then 88, the tight end, is set on the line of scrimmage. So you've got this inversion of the 2 tight ends. It's kind of like inverted wing that there's various names for, some of which I can't repeat. Quick read by Branch downhill. Also, Barnes winning. Barnes ends up with his hand possibly in the helmet or the face mask of this tight end. They're battling for position. Tight end's trying to expand him. Of course, it doesn't occur, possibly due to the hands to the face by Barnes. But quick read from Branch downhill. When you've got that 4-3 personnel on the field, Anzalone, Campbell, Barnes, and Branch is able to get reads like this, whether it's 12 personnel, 21, or 22, it almost makes it like a 4-4 from a personnel standpoint. He's a hybrid player. I played linebacker, I believe, in high school. He can talent, just a very rare combination of skills, if you ask me, for Brian Branch. This is the L22 angle of the same play. It's a 1st and 10, like I said, into the 3rd quarter. And really what the Packers have done here is kind of create an extra gap. So watch how Campbell takes on this block. He's got to secure the inside gap. Campbell can't fold over the top. The running back's path is downhill. So Campbell's trying to match that pathway and deny the running back being able to run downhill. So what that does is, along with Aleem McNeil kind of stunting underneath of the 6th offensive lineman, the jumbo offensive lineman, it forces the running back to bounce it directly into 2 of the most athletic, hybrid-type guys on this defense in Brian Branch and Derek Barnes. There really wasn't much going or getting accomplished from a jumbo 12 personnel standpoint in the second half when Branch was in position to get involved. Here's another one. And there's been some complaints about this one on social media from Packers fans. It just really doesn't make sense to me. But in any case, it's that same drive, 7th possession, and it's a zone toss. Sometimes I'll call this a short toss. Basically, they're not trying to get the running back all the way to the outside. They're just trying to zone it and have him run off tackle. This is a beautiful fit by Brian Branch. Now, Barnes does a great job here as well. It's a knifing tackle from Branch that's gotten a lot of complaints from Packers fans because it's a low tackle. In any case, 70, the jumbo offensive lineman, is engaging Barnes, and Barnes is forcing the running back to go underneath directly into what we call the alley. I'll give you the end zone angle of this one. I think it's a great tackle. I don't see what there is to complain about it. You're running the football, trying to be as physical as possible as an offense. Guys are blocking, trying to knock us back, knock us down, and create space for the running back, and you're going to complain about the guy going low and making a tackle? That's football. I thought Green Bay was like a tough town full of tough fans. It's just been shocking to me a little bit to hear some of those complaints at times. But in any case, same play from the end zone angle. I have even more appreciation for this alley run by Branch from this angle. So the kind of combo here, I think that's McNeil set up as outside shade of the tackle, inside shade of the tight end. So some people will refer to that as a 7, a 6-eye, whatever. 70 is stepping out to Barnes, basically a base block, trying to expand him, create as much space as possible for Jacobs to fit through. Watson goes to block Robertson inexplicably. I feel like you should go get the safety here. But in any case, you can see the angle that Branch is taking, and he upends Josh Jacobs. I think that's a perfect tackle the way the NFL wants the game to be played now. Tackling people low, not going high, not going up near the helmet. I just don't understand what the complaint is here at all. To me, that looks like perfect football technique for running the alley, staying balanced with your feet and your hips, having great eyes on the ball carrier, being stressed, athletically moving, downhill, and then knowing when to explode and finish and make the tackle. Still on that same possession, the 7th one, this is an immaculate play against a screen. I recognize that there'll probably be people who focus on the 2 losses that Branch had against Wicks in this game. The touchdown that I already showed you, and then the 4th and 3 completion that basically seals the game for Green Bay. That's fine. I actually have complaints and would like to see Branch play those better as well. But nonetheless, we cannot take away some of the things he was able to do and put out on film. So Barnes is off screen to our right. He's blitzing through the B-gap. Hutchinson is off the edge. It's a screen out to bunch from 11 personnel. Hutchinson maybe tries to get a hand on it here. Looks like he comes close. And then here's Dobbs catching the football behind 2 receivers, Watson and Wicks. If it were me and I'm a Lions coach, I want to force them to do this as much as possible. Force those guys to block and be physical. If you're Dobbs and you have this to do over again, you're going outside here. It even looks like he kind of glances at Branch and he pays the price for it. It's clearly a bad idea. Branch is committed to his angle. He's got great feet upon approach. The feet kind of settle. Perfect position with his body down low to be able to explode. I don't get it. People who call him dirty, they're probably fans of other teams. It's so hypocritical at times what people say about players on other teams. I've seen this dynamic with the Ravens and the Steelers as well. If Branch went to their team, the Packers, the Bears, whoever, those people will be buying his jersey a week into his tenure. Same play from the all-22 angle. You can see the bunch down here to the bottom side of the screen. I would guess this is why the Lions are blitzing Derek Barnes. Basically saying, hey, we don't think you're going to throw the screen over here. In addition, they've gone cowboy. So what I mean by cowboy is you've got Reed and Amik on the field as the 2 outside corners. Up to the top, you do not have an outside corner. Anzalone is lined up over the tight end, and the free safety is to that side as well. So you got 2 high safety structure with these 2 here, and both corners on the same side. With Barnes blitzing, you've basically said, okay, it's a 3-on-3 out here in space. This is a different structure than the rest of the NFL, okay? It's not just the 4-3 nature. It's using 4-3 to match 11 personnel. I would love to have enough time to dive into that, as much as possible. Maybe I could find 6 or 8 or 10 plays to kind of talk about that after the Cowboys game. In any case, Dobbs does go to the outside and then veers back directly in Branch's path is a bad decision. Some screens, bubbles, whatever you want to call them, are designed to go to the outside and basically horizontally stretch the defense as far as you can to the sideline. And we would even tell the kids, hey, your goal here is to get 5 yards. But your goal is not to take a shot like that. That's a huge delivery from Branch that if you only have a certain amount of receivers healthy, it can kind of dissuade you as a coach from calling those types of plays again. If you can't tell, I think Branch is an incredible football player. He's an eraser and someone that it seems like to me wants to make tackles whether in the box or out in space. We've moved forward to the 8th possession here. The Packers have obviously taken a 31-21 lead. And Detroit, this is after the failed 4th down decision inside the 5-yard line of the Packers, or inside the 10-yard line perhaps. In any case, this shows the versatility of Branch as a physical guy that Kelvin Shepard and the defensive staff trust to basically, in this case, line him up as an edge defender. They've got enough big bodies on the field. I think you got Muhammad here, 3 interior D tackles, and then Hutchinson on the other side. But they've used Branch to come up and essentially create a 6-2 look with Amik Robertson rolled into the box as well. It's essentially a response to jumbo 12 personnel when Shepard and Dan Campbell just say, F you, we want to stop the run and get the ball back for our offense. Muhammad definitely jumps to the inside here against the tight end. We're talking about this matchup here. And disrupts the path of the running back initially, such that he's got to bounce. Wicks wants nothing to do with trying to block in this situation, so he gets nothing done. Branch makes the tackle with Amik Robertson in support. Same play from the end zone angle. You guys can barely see him. Branch is off screen, to our right-hand side. Hutchinson lined up in this wide alignment out here to the weak side of the formation. Like I said, Wicks doesn't really want anything to do with this. You do have the 2 tight ends, one of which is the eligible offensive lineman, the jumbo tight end. If it's me and I'm the Lions, there is a part of me that would say I would like to force their hand a little bit more if you got a third matchup, if you were fortunate to do so, meaning make guys like Wicks, Watson, and Dobbs have to block as much as possible. I would love to look at the run-pass tendencies out of jumbo 12 personnel and see what it was in this game, as well as any of the other games that we could have scouted leading up to this situation. Branch had, I think, 10 tackles on the night, 2 PDs, 7 solo tackles. All of those led the team. Let's get to the final possession, the one that's unfortunate for Lions fans, obviously, and also for Brian Branch, because if it weren't for the final completion here, we could be talking about a different outcome. It's 31-24. We are inside of, I think, 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Maybe it's right at 2 minutes as the ball is snapped. With all of the injuries that have been incurred and dealt with coming into this game and during the game, St. Brown, the offensive line's inability to prevent pass rush from getting to Goff, and he still executed. Troubles on 4th down to open the third quarter, and then the decision that Dan Campbell made. Not here to evaluate it this time. You guys know what my thoughts are on it. You still have an opportunity to get a stop here and get the football back from your own 45-yard line. So clearly within striking distance. There's a lot going on here that I think is interesting from a Packers perspective. So first, remember the touchdown that I showed you earlier where Amik and DJ Reed weren't sure how to deal with it. They had a plan for how to deal with it and still give up the touchdown to Dobbs. I think these guys handle it better, but we're not backed up against the goal line. So the staggered nature of what they do here with Reed and Amik allows them to sort this out a little bit better. But like I said, you're not dealing with a quick out to the sideline where they can score 6 points or 7 points after the extra point, with a little innocuous 1-yard route. I got 3 seconds elapsed still before the ball is snapped. 3:40 on my timeline to 6:39. So in fact, 2:59 from 2 seconds, and almost 3 full seconds. You got Watson going across the field against Branch. This is great timing on the challenge. We're very zoomed out from this all-22 angle. Shepard's style, just like Aaron Glenn's, is putting a lot of pressure on the DBs. It has been working. In this case, it did as well on the 3rd and 3. I think Branch gave Watson some problems, some troubles in those one-on-one matchups because of his physicality. For whatever reason, that didn't translate to dealing with Dontavion Wicks. So this is the aforementioned 4th and 3. He's matched up with Wicks. It's a trip set to the top side of our screen, the right-hand side for the Packers offense. And the tight end stays into block. I believe he engages Marcus Davenport. And since the tight end is being guarded in man-to-man by Alex Anzalone, again, they're giving away the coverage here. They're showing you that it's man because Alex Anzalone's lined up here. And both of your corners are cowboyed to the same side with Branch rolled up. So really, you have played cover 2 before in 2024 and 2025 with Anzalone dropping out into the flats. I wonder if maybe if he had to do over again, give Love some differential looks post-snap that he can't rely on. The running back actually, I think, moves to the side to block, and then he'll release, and he's matched up with Jack Campbell. There is some pressure from the right side in the form of Hutchinson and Aleem McNeil. That's pretty much all there is as far as guys that are going to get organic pressure. And because the tight end stays into block, number one, and number two, I think the running back is checking to block and then releasing a route. What that does is it opens up all this side of the field for Dontavion Wicks to take advantage of. And I think Love checked the top side of the field first to Christian Watson, and either he didn't like what he saw or he saw the free safety moving over to that side of the field. Watson had snapped his route down anyway, and Love chose to go to Wicks against Branch. As highly as I think of Brian Branch, it has to be said, Love did challenge him multiple times, so maybe the Packers feel differently than us and so many people do. Wicks was 2 of 2 in these high-leverage situations, so I can't lie. That's impressive. Having said all that, if you offered me that matchup tomorrow, Brian Branch against Wicks man-to-man, I'm taking Brian Branch. And I know that the most recent data that we have doesn't back that up. Same play from the end zone angle. You got McNeil on a pressure against the right guard, and Hutchinson, I believe, is going to make contact with the quarterback just after the throw. Staying in the block with this tight end so that occupies Anzalone, clears out the right-hand side of the Lions' defense from the hash to the sideline. I think Love is initially looking, to our left on screen right now, but to his right deeper, that's where you got Christian Watson. And then chooses to come back because it's a one-on-one. Lower percentage chance down the field, obviously, to Watson. I think he just checked the free safety and decided, okay, I know where I'm going with the ball. I know the coverage. And part of me says, well, he just threw this ball up. But it's a one-on-one, and he knows that there is no defender from the hash to the from the hash to the sideline to help out Brian Branch. You would expect Branch to make a play on the ball. He's there to challenge. Love just put it in a location for Wicks to go get. High points the football while getting knocked down. It's a great play. We have to give those guys credit, even though if you're anything like me at all, you would trust Brian Branch in that same situation tomorrow. A lot to say about Branch and the way that he played in this game and some of the things that Detroit did on defense. First of all, Branch is the guy that helps Shepard play this 4-3 oriented style. Derek Barnes as well. Those two are the hybrids that can allow you to play 4-3 personnel, against 11 personnel. I'm still kind of surprised by Branch's reaction on that touchdown to Wicks that put him up 10-0. Sound like he took ownership of it. I think he's in good coverage relationship, has a chance to stop the completion. The one that made it 10-0 is just inexplicably turns around and stops playing football. To me, based on the film that I get to see, he's one of the best safeties that I watch film of when he's operating at his highest output. He was very good last week against the Packers. Those two breakdowns, in my opinion, is what is the separator, or those two wins by Wicks is the separator between his 10-tackle, 2-pass defense performance being one that was very, very good or spectacular if Detroit was able to win. If losing those two biggest plays, the 4th down conversion to end the game, if either of those balls falls incomplete, that gives Detroit a much better chance to win the football game, absent all the other issues. St. Brown going down, Laporta being out, missing 2 offensive linemen having so much difficulty protecting Jared Goff, and zero ability to pressure Jordan Love. I do think that Shepard perhaps has made it too easy for Love to ID these coverages and put the ball in spots that were safe from any safety or anyone converging to make a play. I think the last play that I showed you is kind of illustrative of that, particularly the end zone angle. Credit to Love for putting it in a spot where Wicks could go get it. There's no one else on that side of the field to possibly help defend it all because Detroit oftentimes just refuses to drop out in his zone. I think Branch and some of the other guys are put in tough spots. The guy that clearly struggled the most was Amik. I have no idea what Amik's catches to targets look like, but I don't think it can be good. It seemed like he was really struggling with Watson and others, specifically the long touchdown in the third quarter. That one was critical. It put the Packers up 24-14 after the failed fourth down conversion near midfield. In any case, Branch at this point for 2025, he does have 69 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 8 PDs, and 1 forced fumble. But his numbers aren't tracking to get to his 2024 stats of 4 picks and 16 PDs. Some of that could be, he missed the Tampa Bay game, right? That was a defensive gem from Shepard's group on the defensive side. The most recent 2 games, the Giants and the Packers, have been really disappointing. And now Detroit gets the Cowboys coming to town, and they've got 2 wide receivers who can do damage, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, and then a tight end who's got 70 catches on 84 targets, incredibly high percent operation, while Dak is leading the NFL in total completions, also leading the NFL in yards passing and first downs, in addition, first in the league in QBR. Dallas has only allowed 17 sacks. That's tied for third lowest in the NFL. If you combine that with Detroit's inability to get to the quarterback, I'm talking about lately, and so let's do it this way. Their last 3 games, Eagles, Giants, Packers. Detroit total has produced 2 sacks and 11 quarterback hits. Hutchinson has 1 of those 2 sacks, and he has 7 of those quarterback hits. Basically, if Aiden Hutchinson isn't getting to the quarterback, no one else is at all. The man coverage schemes, I like it. I understand the mentality, and I'm not saying that wholesale Kelvin Shepard should go away from it. Branch is a big part of it. He's got that versatility. He can play man. He can play anywhere on the field, really. I love his game. From a Brian Branch standpoint, I don't think he's going to get the recognition for his talent this season. The stats are somewhat suppressed from turning the football over, interceptions, number 1, and the suspension, right? As well as giving up these 2 plays here to Wicks. If he was able to get a stop and become the hero in the end, and Detroit goes down and scores to tie it, or maybe even goes for 2 and takes the lead and wins, then great. I wonder about switching some of these coverages, guys, against the Cowboys. Showing man and then switching to zone post-snap. Dak will throw the ball down the sidelines from the bottom of the numbers to the sidelines to Pickens and CeeDee Lamb when he sees these one-on-ones. And I'm not saying that the guys for Detroit won't compete and put up resistance. I just wonder if you're not kind of playing into his hands because you're going to have difficulty getting to the quarterback anyway and really putting pressure on him. You're welcome to have different thoughts. Some people, maybe Kelvin Shepard and Dan Campbell's answer is going to be, hey, let's bring as much pressure as possible, make him throw the football soon. If Kirby Joseph is back there playing free safety on Thursday, then he can break on the ball and get us 1 or 2 turnovers because that's just what he's done, so far in his career. In any case, you guys didn't sign up for a preview for the Cowboys game, but looking into the numbers and some of the Cowboys film that I had access to, I see some level of danger if you just roll in there and play your typical man coverages and only bring 4 or 5 and don't get to Dak Prescott at all. If he's got that much time to throw, like Jordan Love did on Thanksgiving Day, I worry about seeing a third consecutive game, of subpar defense from Kelvin Shepard's group. In any case, this is my film study look at Brian Branch from Week 13. It's obviously a little bit late. Spent a lot of time traveling on the holidays, so difficult to get these out. If you guys enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comment section, number 1. Number 2, if you think other Lions fans would appreciate or enjoy, my comments and my thoughts, as well as the film that I used to illustrate them, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.